From the Huffington Post, Matt Gaetz doubles down on misogyny, calls abortion rights advocates ugly. The Republican congressman said women who attend abortion rights rallies are ugly and overweight. I'm just going to come out and say it. Matt may be a little crass and rude about it, but he's objectively correct. And that is not me trying to insult abortion rights activists. I am going to just outright say it at the start of this video. Matt Gaetz, while crass, probably rude, is 100% objectively correct about the attractiveness of abortion rights activists. You think I'm here to play games, my friends? I am certainly not. I have brought all of the sources. Now, real quick, story here is that Matt Gaetz was speaking at an event, and he said, well, let me just show you the video. Why is it that the women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions? Nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb. And now the story is picking up steam because a reporter asked Matt Gaetz. Let me just play the clip for you guys.
Explain what you said and what you meant by that.
Well, I'm very pro-life, and I make no apology for it. And I'm grateful that Roe has been overturned and that Dobbs is now the jurisprudence on abortion. And I find these people who go out in these pro-abortion, pro-murder rallies odious and just like ugly on the inside and out. And I make no apology for it. I don't believe that every person who disagrees with my perspective on life is an ugly person, but the ones that are out there protesting and marching outside Justice Kavanaugh's home, trying to threaten the court, trying to impose a night of rage on our nation's capital, which is what they advertised, it's just pure ugliness. And I see that ugliness on the inside, I see it on the outside. You know, even in the horrible circumstance where an abortion may happen, it is nothing to celebrate and it is nothing to cheer.
Mm-hmm. Is it safe to say that based off of your comments, you're suggesting that these women at these abortion rallies are ugly and overweight?
Yes.
What do you say to people who think that those comments are offensive?
Be offended.
Mm-hmm. Be offended. And so now everybody's mad at Matt Gaetz like, oh, well, I never. And so I'll stress it again. He's correct, but maybe a little rude. So we have a variety of stories, all basically covering the same thing. Matt Gaetz tried to shame a 19-year-old abortion rights activist, and it did not go well for him. In fact, I don't think that even matters at all, but we'll come to that. And I want to show you some of the tweets Matt Gaetz posted. He says, today on The View, Whoopi Goldberg strongly disagreed with my assessment that people who rally at these pro-abortion, pro-murder events are disgusting and need to work in a salad. And then he posts a photo of a very large Whoopi Goldberg. He then has this photo where Newsmax says Florida Rep Matt Gaetz blasted abortion activists in a rant sure to raise dander of his political opponents. And Matt Gaetz then posts an image of a woman and says, dander raised. Okay, Matt, a little rude, just outright rude. This young woman here, this obese woman, and I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. She's literally obese. She ended up raising a lot of money off this, but we'll come back to that because the question is from Matt Gaetz: is it true? It is true. Let me read the Huffington Post so we can make sure you get the context from the left first. And they say the Republican congressman said women who attend abortion rights rallies are ugly and overweight. Now, we saw the quote from him and Huffington Post assessment. Gaetz attracted fierce criticism this weekend for telling college students at a conservative conference in Tampa, Florida, that nobody wants to impregnate women he deems unattractive. He deems? So they shouldn't worry about their rights to bodily autonomy. Why is it that the women... Okay, so look. He says nobody wants to impregnate you if you look like a thumb. These people are odious on the inside and out. They're like 5'2", 350 pounds, and they're like, give me my abortions or I'll get up and march and protest. Gaetz is currently under federal investigation for alleged trafficking and statutory rape of a 17-year-old girl. So I'll put it this way. One, is an investigation into Matt Gaetz relevant to what he said? No, but this is the game they play because we're in a culture war. What's true is completely irrelevant to these people. Is Matt Gaetz a little condescending and mean? Sure. But here's the facts. The Washington Post. Oh, I love it. Conservatives really are better looking, research says. From Psychology Today, science weighs in. Conservatives look better. Let's keep counting. Then we have Oregon Live. Beautiful people tend to be Republican, embrace rugged individualism thanks to the halo effect study. Then we have CNN. I'm sorry, this is the wrong story. So we've got three here. Now we've got Newsweek. Good-looking people tend to vote Republican because they've had easier lives, study says 4. Then we've got The Guardian. Hunky Tory, attractive people tend to are more likely to be right-wing, study finds. There's 5. Now we've got Indy 100. 6. Conservatives are more attractive than liberals, study finds. Then we've got The Atlantic. 7. Why conservative politicians may be more attractive than liberal ones. Is that it? Do we have more? And then we have studyfinds.org. 8 sources. I did not spend a lot of time digging this up. Conservative politicians are better looking than liberals, study says. And these are different studies. Matt Gaetz is not wrong. People on the left, liberals, tend to be unattractive. Now, going back to where we're currently at, Matt Gaetz tried to body shame a 19-year-old abortion rights activist. It did not go well for him. Okay, let me just address this. He didn't try to. He literally did body shame a 19-year-old activist. We've got the Whoopi Goldberg tweet, and then we have this. He posted an image of this obese young woman. Olivia Juliana tweeted, in honor of Matt Gaetz publicly body shaming me, I'll be fundraising for the Gen Z for Change Abortion Fund. The Gen Z for Choice Fund splits donations across states where services are most needed. You can donate to the link below. Now, Matt Gaetz is right about the attractiveness of the left, but he is wrong about who wants to impregnate them. Let's just get it real, get it right. We see all these videos of these morbidly obese women with like 5 boyfriends. Yeah, they're having tons of sex. Okay, you know it's remarkable to me. I get the point he's trying to make. I guess that liberals tend to be less attractive. I don't know what that really accomplishes, to be completely honest. You might find it funny or whatever, or maybe you're offended by it. It is objectively true that conservatives tend to be more attractive, and we'll get into that because there's a very simple explanation. The Young Turks, they got so mad when we did a segment on Timcast IRL about this, and they were like, well, Tim's ugly, so that disproves it. And I'm like, dude, I'm just reading the news. You guys got problems with the fact that y'all are ugly. I don't know what to tell you about it, man, because I'm not here to rag on you for not being attractive. I'm just pointing out the study says conservatives tend to be more attractive. Now, I've been to the RNC a CPAC. I've been to the RNC once. I've been to CPAC a couple times. And what do you find? Well, I've been to the DNC and I've been to the RNC. The Republicans, man, the men tend to be taller, wearing suits, thin. The women at the RNC conventions are all like the exact same looking women, blonde in a red dress. But they're all thin. You go to the DNC and what do you get? You get big, portly women. And you get short, scraggly little men. And I noticed this. And it wasn't just me. I was talking to several progressive friends. This is years ago. And we talked about it. And the funny thing is, the idea is actually quite simple. It's called privilege. The left loves the idea. Oh, they love the idea until Matt Gaetz brings it up. Yes, privilege is the reason why they argue conservatives tend to be more attractive. Because it's in fact actually the inverse. Attractive people tend to be conservative. Why? It's simple. If you're attractive, people are nicer to you. People want things from you. They want to be around you. So all of a sudden, I shouldn't say all of a sudden, but you lead this life, being attractive, where everybody's nice, you get what you want, and you say, life's not so bad. You know, I haven't struggled. And then you have unattractive people struggling all day and night saying life is difficult. And so those people who struggle form collectives to support each other. And those people who are attractive, well, they tend to be more independent. And it's also not just about being attractive. Let's talk about male and female. If you're a female, you are substantially less likely to be homeless. Now, guys 5 times more likely to be homeless, and they know all about it. Not every single guy. If you are a chiseled middle-class guy, you've probably not experienced this. But I'll tell you this. Growing up in low-income areas and experiencing this stuff as a dude, it's get out, get away from me, I don't care about you. And a woman of comparable stature, similar income levels, just finds a guy of some means, and then he move into my house, no problem. These women, they tend not to be homeless. Either they'll get a job and support themselves, and if they do fall in hard times, they get a boyfriend, or someone will pay for them. They'll get a sugar daddy or something like that. Not every woman, not all the time. I know women who are homeless. It's a tendency. But I want to say Matt Gaetz is wrong. You see these videos from the left. You may think they're ugly, but, and I'll say this too, to Jordan Peterson's point. He posted an image of Sports Illustrated, and it showed this morbidly obese model. And again, you know what's really funny is I have to clarify this. I'm not trying to insult her. I'm making a distinct term about morbid obesity. There you go. And he said, it's not beautiful, and you'll never convince me it's beautiful. Dude, some people like fat chicks. The same thing is true for what Matt Gaetz is saying. He's posting this photo of this young fat woman, and he's like, who's going to want to impregnate her? I'm like, bro, I got to be honest, a lot of people. Because it's not just about what you think is attractive or not. It's about, I don't know, are people desperate and willing to take what they can get? Imagine this. You got a leftist incel, scraggly 5'3", Weasley little guy, and he struggles to engage in relations with women. And then along comes a woman of comparable stature and attractiveness, and they're going to be attracted to each other. I mean, that's just the way it goes. I remember watching, I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, The Science of Sex. They had they put a number on everyone's forehead. And then they said, you can't see your number. We're going to put 10 guys and 10 girls in the same room together. And your goal is to pair up with the highest number possible. And so obviously the dude who's number 10, meaning like the highest value, he walks in, everyone immediately looks for the one with the highest card. They look for the woman who has the 10. And so the woman who has the 10 is looking for the guy who has the 10. Sure enough, boom, they instantly pair up. The guy with the 10, or all of the guys, 10 guys, they go up to the woman with the 10, the woman go up to the guy with the 10, and they're like, no, I want her. And then she goes, yeah, I want him. And they're like, boom, the 10s easily find themselves. And then what they found is that the person who had an 8 and the person who had a 7, it's like slightly above, slightly below, but it makes sense. Because the person who sees the 8 goes, it's not a 9 or a 10, but I'll take it. And the person who has the 8 sees the guy with the 7 and goes, 7's pretty good. I'll take that. And then sure enough, the people who were at 1 were with each other. My point is, do you think that people who are attractive just like don't try to hook up and simply roll over and just go, guess I'll never, hook up? I got to be honest. For dudes, probably the case. There are probably many dudes who are, let's talk about that too. Let's talk about that in the modern era, huh? Dudes who are low status and unattractive. Yeah, I don't think they're ever getting laid. No, for real. They're probably not ever. Because guys will probably hook up with whatever they can get. I mean, there are jokes about dudes hooking up with ugly women and fat women, because they're willing to do it depending on the circumstances. But these women don't have to hook up with Weasley guys because even moderately attractive guys will be looking to hook up. Just the way guys are. So if you look at, there's interesting data on this, the bell curve of dating preferences. Women rate, it's like for men, they rate women on a bell curve, meaning average women are viewed as average, beautiful, attractive women are rated attractively. So it's very static. Women, however, have this strange curve where every single guy is unattractive until they get to the top of the top, the 6'5", chiseled, ripped guy. Everyone else is unattractive. Women just want the best guy possible. Duh. So, to Matt Gaetz' point, I think all he really did in this statement was just insult the left for being ugly, I guess. I'm not all about that. Look, this photo he posts of this woman, yeah, she's morbidly obese. That ain't my thing. I'm sure there are a lot of guys, I know for a fact there are a lot of guys who like big women. And this woman very well may get pregnant because of it. And then she probably will want to get an abortion. I mean, I guess that's why she's an activist for it. So here's the story they say didn't go well for Matt Gaetz. Actually, it went really, really well for Matt Gaetz. Let's just be honest. Now, you may call him a dick or something like that, but he got what he wanted out of it. The right is cheering for him. They don't care about these people. They don't like these people. So how did it not go well for him? This woman raises money. That has no bearing whatsoever on Matt Gaetz' standing or what his goals are. Glamour writes, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. You see, Matt Gaetz, blah, blah, blah. He says they're too fat. Why is it that women are fat? In the spirit of addressing the next generation, which considering the 40-year-old is under investigation, blah, blah, blah. I know we get it. He says they're odious, yada, yada, yada. Can you get to the point? Dan Ray says, am I not a little too old for you, Matt? Juliana asked in a reply. I think you have a thing for targeting teenagers, but 19 is on the cusp, don't you think? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, come on. How did it not go well? Look, all this stuff has been blocked. Since posting her rebuttal, Juliana says she's gained 20,000 followers across platforms. Let this serve as a lesson to all Republican politicians out there. If it's a battle of wit against me, you're going to lose. Matt Gaetz has not addressed Olivia Juliana directly since his initial tweet. That's probably a good call. You know what? Welcome to the modern political era, where Matt Gaetz can come out and say, be offended, fat and ugly. And the right goes, woo, yeah, and they cheer and they laugh. And then the left goes, ha, Matt, well, I'm a little too old for you and big. Snap, snap. And then everyone goes, oh, smackdown. The people on the right aren't arguing with the people on the left, and the people on the left aren't arguing with people on the right. That's the reality of it. So none of this ultimately matters. Well, I mean, it kind of does. It kind of does. This is the echo chamber expansion of hatred. The left writes articles attacking Matt Gaetz, saying, haha, it didn't go well for him. He doesn't care. He literally doesn't care. And I got to be honest, I don't think this woman cares either. I think she saw an opportunity to virtue signal to her base. Matt Gaetz was calling people fat and ugly. I think Matt Gaetz is right about the attractiveness thing, but wrong about what it ultimately means. And the left doesn't care if he's right or wrong. They're just going to be like, oh, how dare they? You know what's funny? Why should they be mad if they don't agree? You see my point? When Matt Gaetz says that activists are fat and ugly, and then he shows this woman, her response to him being like, oh, yeah, it's just like, why should you care if someone else finds you unattractive? What does that have to do with anything? No. For everybody, for the political tribes, the goal is just to rile up your side. I don't care about that. I don't care about this woman. I don't care how she looks. I don't care about her life. You know, I care about her ideas. And I agree with Matt Gaetz to a degree that the ideas of these people are odious, unattractive, and ugly on the inside. That's a better point, to be honest. Abortion after viability, to me, in almost all circumstances, makes literally no sense. If the child is viable, the child should be delivered. Now, there are questions about whether the state can mandate a person provide their body to someone else. But then you have the issue of, in a circumstance where a woman chooses to engage in activities which could result in pregnancy, I think it's insane that we'd be like, yeah, kill the baby. In an instance where the woman does not choose and someone forces it upon her, okay, well then, look, this is why I am traditionally pro-choice. I don't agree with these activists on the left because they're for like elective contraceptive abortion, which is just freakish to me. And I think the other issue is post-viability is just there's no question. It makes no sense. It's like, come on. Maybe some leeway where it's like, I didn't know, and, but at that point, look, I don't know, maybe not. If the baby is viable, you can just deliver it. You can just take it out and help it live. I don't know the argument for killing something that can survive on its own. Sorry, it's just not there. So I think these people are ugly on the inside. I think they're wrong. I don't think any of this solves anything, and it's just, I got to be honest, this is the big news story of the day. This is the big story. Everyone's talking about it. But I think there's an important point to be made in how we address and understand politics and all that stuff. Conservatives really are better looking. Washington Post. I have 8 sources I have pulled up to make sure you understand. 8 sources spanning 4 years with different studies. Some of them are duplicate studies, mind you. I understand that. Some of them are referencing the same study, I should say. Conservatives really are better looking. Plain and simple. So I don't know what this ultimately leads to, but I will tell you this, in terms of politics, but I can tell you in terms of biology. If ugly people are, let's say Matt's correct, they're less likely to hook up. And it's probably true. Conservatives are more likely to have kids. They're more likely to get married and have families. Liberals may actually be more likely to have sex, but they're more likely to have abortions. They're more likely to sterilize their children. And they're probably, they're just less likely to get pregnant because, I shouldn't say it that way. Just they're more likely to terminate their pregnancies. The future is conservative. That's it. For everything conservatives believe and are worried about, it's fascinating to me. I mean, I understand it. But you've got, people on the right freaking out about vaccines. You got them freaking out about abortions and things like that. And I'm just like, if what you all believe is true, The end result is that in 20 to 30 years, liberals, this ideology, will not exist. The only foothold they have is culture. And if there's a culture war going on right now, it's no surprise they're freaking out. The left doesn't have kids, they have yours. That's the saying, right? They have yours. They go to your schools, they indoctrinate your kids, they suspend you on Twitter for calling out people targeting children. Hey, that happened to me. The end result is simple. We saw it in the 2000s, and it happened. Years ago, I did the segment saying the future will be conservative. The studies showed in like 2003 that liberals were having like 1.5 kids and conservatives are having 2.05, meaning conservatives were slightly above replacement. What does that mean? If there's 25% more conservative kids than liberal ones, in 18 years from that point, you're going to have 25% more conservative voters than liberal ones. That trend has not stopped. The future is conservative, period. And it's not just about the fact that conservatives are more attractive and have families, but at the same time, conservatives are having families and big ones. The left are aborting their kids. So conservatives often say to me, yeah, I don't care about that. I care about humanity and all that stuff. And I'm like, I get it. Highly noble of you to want to defend those who completely disagree with everything you stand for, to raise kids and indoctrinate your kids, and you keep defending them. I get it, because you don't want people being killed or sterilized. I can't speak to whether or not they'll be allowed to continue doing it, if abortion will persist, or if the child sex change things will stop. But I will tell you this right now. The trend as it stands, the left is eliminating their ideology and the right is having kids. Now, people say, Tim, conservative parents is no guarantee for conservative kids. Maybe that was the case 20 years ago, but that's changing now with the rise of homeschooling, school choice, and the culture war. That is the point. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.